Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's time for our weekly mod collection and demo shop update. This week was one of the worst weeks that I can remember, but hey, if you remember last time I said, and the next time that happens, we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the old ones I missed from the mod collection. In case you missed last week's episode, in order to view the sold listings within the mod collection, you go up here to the URL, you type your /sold. But wait a minute. A viewer of the show discovered that you can type whatever you want at all. Penguins like to disco. And bam, you can still see everything. So yeah, literally just anything you like, and you can find this page on their website. But just because it wasn't a stellar week does not mean we did not have a few cool examples. Let's start with this one. A mod collection double neck, EDS 1275, and is this Silverburst? Do we need to censor this? No, we don't. It's nickel Sparkleblast, so I'm guessing it would actually look way different in person. I mean, it just kind of looks like Silverburst, but with like a little bit more texture to it. It's kind of cool for a double neck. You can also see things like the bottom control knobs have the golden toppers versus the silver toppers to help you know which neck you're controlling. And, okay. Did you guys miss stereo? So most guitars are mono, they only go into one output source, but this one, they drilled an extra output jack on the front. I was wondering where that would be, and it took me, zooming in here to finally see where they did it. Okay, that seems rather inconvenient to have two top-mounted front jacks. I think they should have just drilled one on the side to make it a bit easier. But yeah, it seems like maybe you could run both necks into a different amp. That'd be kind of interesting. I haven't really toyed around too much with stuff like that. But here's the thing, a whopping $10,000. So that is a $2,000 premium over top of their regular model, and that just went up by a whole bunch of money too during the new pricing update. And I could maybe see it if they would have took the time to do the back on this one as well, and like the neck and the sides of the headstock, stuff like that. So I kind of have a feeling that $10,000 Sparkleblast might sit around for a little bit, despite being as unique as it is, because it's not just the finish they changed. Again, they had to rewire the thing. But what I am surprised to see sold was this. There was a second double neck this week in a cherry red finish. Now this one was priced a little bit more appropriately at $7,000. But you'll look at it, it's got the Gibson mother of pearl logos. It's just your regular double neck here, but whoa. Okay. So I saw the Bigsby's and it's like, all right, the 6-string, okay, it's got a Bigsby, that's okay. But get Avenged Sevenfold on the phone because that is a nightmare to have a 12-string Bigsby guitar. It's hard enough just to keep those 12 strings in tune all the time, let alone with a vibrola on it. And then get this, really zoom in here, you can actually see that's not a special 12-string Bigsby. Only 6 of the strings are actually wound up for it. It seems to be the lower of the 6 strings instead of the octave or matching note strings. So I would be really curious, whoever bought that, send me a small sound sample of that because only half the strings would change pitch. I don't know, maybe there's other guitars out there that are like that. I just thought that was pretty fascinating on that. But these guitars are heavy enough without Bigsby's on them. It almost weighs 13 pounds now. But if you want to check out an EDS 1275 in my style of review and demo, check out my / video. It was aged and twice as expensive as that. Some other things that were offered this week, you had this black ES 335 that had some interesting pickups, kind of a regular 60s Les Paul reissue, a very bright, vibrant red 70s Flying V. They're asking a premium for it that time. And then the Slate Moss Les Paul Axcess kind of caught my attention. It was about $5,000. It was a top-only refinish, but it's kind of just a nice metallic green finish. It's kind of cool, with a back that is just completely black and in gloss. Continuing on here, we had a couple of studios, some more semi-hollows, just some basic player's grade stuff. Strange Les Paul Classic with purple pickup rings, okay. But then take a look at this. SG Tribute Raven, we just reviewed these. But this time they swapped out the 1-ply black plastic pickguard for kind of like a metallic orange one. Yes, that looks good. It's a pumpkin guitar. Very Halloween for the Halloween issue this week. Quite the premium on this one though for just a pickguard swap. But if nothing else, now more people know that the SG Tribute Raven might exist. I'm sure whoever bought this probably never even heard of that or realized it was a new Guitar Center limited edition exclusive. We had a lefty here, an acoustic. Looks like a Les Paul Classic with one of the trapeze that they like to do. And then this Les Paul Special caught my attention. I remember going, oh yeah, that's cool. It's got a nice finish. It's a little bit exotic. I'm going to share this one with everyone. But then I come to the realization, TV yellow is just a normal color for these things. They didn't refinish it. They just changed our plastics up, gave it gold hardware, and the Clusen style tuners. And man, what a difference does that make? I think that was worth the slight upcharge for that. Because whoever modified this had a good vision. Or did they? Look at your bridge pickup ring. It's actually a slightly pinker hue than the neck pickup, and that kind of bugs me. You can see that same pinkish hue on the poker chip. But the back of the guitar just left the same. That pretty much wraps up this week's mod collection. But before we continue on, let's check out some of the old ones that I believe I missed. So this was an SG Double Junior reissue, they called it. Back when they were giving great deals. This was like the first week of all this, $1,500. They gave it the junior style tuners with the standard style inlays. And then they just swapped out the humbuckers for 2 dog-eared P90s. And then our controls, where did they go? So 3-way toggle switch here in kind of an awkward position, and then just 2. I don't understand this guitar. What did it start life as? I was thinking a standard because of the inlays here. Those would be pretty hard to change because if it was dots, you'd be able to see them on the edge still. But that layout is just very, very strange. Anyways, $1,500 was a lot of fun for that. Next up here, we have an Explorer that kind of has like a light blue color to it. They call it Ghost Pelham Blue. Okay. It looks a little bit lighter up there in the cutaway, but they modified it out with 3 humbuckers. You don't see that too often, on Explorers anyways. Then it's got a really nice rosy rosewood fretboard on it. And looking at the back, that's just a regular serial number. And okay, they did refinish the back, and then they did a little bit on the heel. So what, this is maybe like a $2,000 guitar? But ooh, that one got priced double, but it's still sold. That was definitely not a steal of a deal, but kind of a cool Explorer anyways. But speaking of weird junior refinish type things, look at this. Les Paul Jr. with bright TV yellow finish. I like it because it's just so awkward. They swapped out the black plastic for the P90 for a chrome one, kind of Epiphone in style, and then they gave it a tenon cover for some reason. You know what that is? That's leftover parts from one of those ES335 studios. You know, those blue ones? I think they also made them in black. You could check out this review and demo. If it didn't come from one of those, it was from something very similar. But, you know, something with that bright TV yellow finish, the tenon cover, it just made it look different. Witch hat knobs and all. This thing made me chuckle. It left the factory without a pick guard. It's one of the newer non-reverse Thunderbirds that they just released not too long ago. So if you always wanted one without the Thunderbird pick guard, there you go. That would have been fun to use as a review piece to confuse people. I think that makes this a great candidate for like a pinstriping job. And now this custom was seriously sweet. They called it Raw Gold, only $4,799. I think they could have got a bit more for it because that looks pretty good to me. It's a nice dark gold color. It has some black streaks in it, but yet you still have the gold hardware, so it kind of pops it. I feel like this one needed some like aged lacquer to it for the binding, but the backside was left black. Somebody was crazy with their medallion, installing it incorrectly. Easy enough to fix, you just have to slide it a little bit. But here's a nice close-up of that finish. I'm guessing in person, this probably has like a metal flake appearance to it. It just looks fascinating to me. So congrats whoever got that thing. This one caught my eye as I was going through. It's just a 335 figured, but it kind of reminded me of the skull ones that I've talked about in Rock or Not videos. Because from far away, that figuring just looks way bigger than it is. This was a pretty cool Firebird too for only $22.99. That was not much of a markup. Basically started life as a Pelham Blue one, but then they gave it the white stripe. And they matched the headstock, but unfortunately they did not do the white stripe on the back, which would have made it cooler. But oh man, whoever got this, I'm kind of jealous on this. I would have bought this Les Paul. So it was only $1,400, which, you know, it's kind of expensive for one of the special tributes. But it's a custom color called Acid Washed Aqua. People were on my case for not talking about this one the week it came out. I just never saw it. So it's interesting. You can see the mahogany wood grain through the finish. They did the humbucker version that has the covers on it, the witch hat knobs. It's just, I don't know, it reminds me of like spelunking in a cave and you shine your light and it's like a crystal dragon or something. The wood grain gives me reptile skin vibes. And what's even better is they did it on the back of the neck and they did it on the back of the guitar. Now, granted, I don't like the way it turned out right there. It became a little bit too bright, but I like the wear on the edges, or maybe that's just reflecting the light. I'm not sure, but it kind of gives it like a fake binding. And want to know what's even better? I have not seen this thing show up on the resale market, so whoever has it must actually enjoy it. Dang, 57 classic pickups? Nice. Unfortunately, they didn't upgrade it to a hard shell case though, but yeah, that thing is cool. Next up, we have this Amphiburst Les Paul Standard. I had a lot of people sending me this one. To be honest with you guys, I don't really like it. I like Gecko Burst, but this one just doesn't quite do it for me. And it all comes down because it's a perimeter burst. I prefer the teardrop shaped ones. But it's got a nice color scheme and dirty fingers and a Seymour Duncan pickup in it. And it's got the dark back to it. Pretty cool. Another one a lot of people were upset I missed was this. Les Paul Special in Silver Sparkle with pinstripes. It's another one that it's like, it's kind of cool, but it's not for me. I do enjoy the pinstriping job on it, but it just didn't quite speak to me. But it was a very fair price at only $2,000. And it is a full-on refinish, so really, that was more than fair. But judging by these backplates, this was not one of the newer specials. So Gibson actually kind of made out like a bandit on this, selling an older one. Let's see, serial number, from 2016. Next up, this SG Junior bass. So they took one of the SG standard basses, put a giant pickguard on it, put a custom-made plaque on top of that, and then just left it with one pickup. Called it an SG Junior bass. I don't know, it's kind of cool. Reminds me of the SGZ basses. I just saw this one get listed by its owner too. It was initially sold at $1,600, and if you want to own it today, Too Much Gear Room is selling it for an asking price of $3,000. So that gets us all caught up on the mod shop for the interesting ones that I missed that I wanted to talk about. Now let's move on to the demo shop for this week. There were a couple of custom finishes and some cool wood grain, but I only have like 11 of them to talk about, which is half as many as usual. First off, we'll start with an interesting wood grain. 60s Les Paul Standard. It's a considerable discount. I think what, $600 or $700 off the new price now. And I just like that maple wood grain on this side and then a little bit more heavily figured over here. It's got a good color. It wasn't necessarily modified too much. It just looks nice and was a good deal. Kind of a similar story on this 50s modified one. Nice top. I like that they blacked out the plastics. It really made this look a little bit more Halloweenish. And it was only $2,000 as well. But what really made me want to share this one with you was not the top. It was the back. I dig that wood grain. That looks pretty nice right there. It's kind of like a mountain beast here. It has its mouth open right here, and then that's its eye. This Bengal burst, the way that they do the staining of the finish here, I like the way that this flame top looked on it. Similar story with this lemon burst. They added some black plastics, uncovered the pickups, and I like the contrast of color from that lemon burst to the red on the back. This $1,900 Honeyburst Les Paul Standard, pretty nice top. I can just imagine seeing that thing in person. Like, there's certain tops are gonna dance, and that's a dancer. It's got the reflector knobs on it too. This is one of the older standards though. The back isn't too special, but when you have a top that nice, who really cares? And I think my favorite guitar this entire week has to be this one. So it's a half dreadfully plain top that just has like the really nice looking wood grain. But then the other half is decently figured. Normally they don't mix match tops like that, but I love guitars that are like this. Whoever got this thing, I'm kind of jealous. I mean, it was $2,100, but I think it would have been fun to document because I have not seen modern era Gibson do that. Because you can really see there's literally no flame figuring in that side. Like sometimes you'll get a weak side and a heavy side, but this is literally no side and a pretty good side. And the dark finish really sells it well. Moving on to our custom colors, juicy red modified base. Doesn't do much for me. Maybe it looks cooler in person, just kind of looks like a flat, vibrant red. Same thing with this one, an SG Standard in a satin tough blue finish. I'm not a big fan of the demo shop satin finishes. Like, this thing started life as gloss. I feel like it should stay gloss, especially for the premium that we're paying for it. I was kind of disappointed in the ES Les Paul Custom that I purchased. That was a satin finish because it had so many additional scratches that a gloss finish probably wouldn't have had. But that was $1,800. And then, hey, one of the exclusive olive drabs made it to the demo shop. I think this thing sat around. I just wasn't thinking. I probably should have bought it. That was a good deal, $1,200. You can only get these on Gibson.com, and they're not always in stock. I mean, this one, it just looked like it had, where was it? There it is, a small ding. Not that big of a deal to get that big of a discount. And hey, Gibson learned their lesson about the Les Paul CMs. They used to sell these things for like $899 to $1,000. Now they upped the price to $1,600. Still sold. And it'll probably still end up on the used market for like $2,000. But I think they've hit that sweet spot of that's what this guitar should sell for. You can check out my review and demo of the CM Black series right here. All right, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed this week's recap. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.